in 1965, just burst on the scene. When we were kids, we used to mimic the way he played. The guy was probably the greatest running back, one of the greatest running backs of all time. And on top of that, the youngest Hall of Famer, 22 touchdowns in his rookie season. The guy had 20 100-yard games in 6 years. He's a Hall of Famer, but more importantly, he's still and always will be a Chicago Bear. Ladies and gentlemen, Gale Sayres.
How you doing, sir? Oh, it's great to meet my guy. Look at him, finally. Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. One of the greatest ovations I've heard on this show yet. And I got to tell you, now I said it right. When I'm 11 years old, I'm at the store trying to shoplift some magazines with Gale Sayres and Leroy Kelly on the cover because I didn't have the money. I got caught eventually about a month and a half down the line. But what I used to do, and I showed you some of the pictures, I used to cut them out and I keep them, and I still got them, you and Butkus, in the shoebox. But I want to figure something out. Now, if I was 11 at the time, and you were how old when you burst on the scene?
21.
21? Yeah. Then how come you look younger than me?
I don't. Don't say that.
You know what? I've always wanted to ask you this. You know, today they got the medial collateral ligament. This guy did this to his knee, did that to his knee. Nobody ever really said what Gale Sayres did to his knee. At that time, it was just a knee injury. What was the official report on your knee?
Well, I had what they call the terrible triad. I tore the anterior and posterior cruciates, which is the inside of your knee, and I tore the medial collateral ligament. So only one ligament was holding my knee together. But with today's type of surgery, arthroscopic, it wasn't even born back when I played.
Right.
So I probably could have stayed another 3 or 4 years. But what I had a cast on my leg from hip to toe for 10 weeks, and it's very, very difficult to come back. But today, it's a common injury, and they come back within a year.
Let's talk about work ethic, because you have the kid out in New England who got hurt, and they say it might be over with. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys get hurt today, and they don't come back. You came back from an almost impossible situation. The next year, ran for over 1,000 yards at 4.2 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. I mean, now, was the movie accurate, the Brian Piccolo, Gale Sayres relationship, where he pushed you to continue to work so you could come back?
It was very, very accurate. Joey Piccolo and I spent about a month with the producers and James Caan and Billy D. Williams going over events, making sure there was an accurate portrayal of our relationship. And we worked out together. He did push me. But, you know, for me to come back off that injury,
sure,
it was a gift from God. No question about it, because I shouldn't have came back. And now, Testaverde, he has an injury, but he's 36 years of age. Mm-hmm. He may not come back. You know, I was 24, 25. But he's 35.
You know what, Gale? I think a lot of people, and I could speak for most of the fans of this town, when you got hurt, I was bitter. I felt bad. I mean, most of the kids in this town felt bad. I think most of the fans felt bad. So I can only imagine how you felt when you got hurt. How long did it take you to get over the fact, after you were done playing, that you were never going to play again, and that you had maybe your career had ended at the age of 28 or 29?
Well,
it did take you 10 years, 5 years, a year?
No, it didn't. No. I've said so many times, as you prepare to play, you must prepare to quit. And so I did that. As hard as I worked on the field, I worked off the field to get myself ready for the day to come when I had to retire. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I got hurt early. But, you know, I couldn't play anymore. And so it wasn't difficult for me to retire, mm-hmm, because I couldn't run anymore.
But you get hurt
when I ran.
You're averaging 6.2 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. You've played 9 games. You have 895 yards. I mean, you're off to one of the greatest starts in NFL history, and bingo, it's over.
Well, it's disappointing, yes. But I want to prove that one could come back within a year off a serious knee injury. Mm-hmm. The doctor did their job, and then it was up to me to do my job. And it wasn't a 3-day-a-week thing. It's 7 days a week, 3-4 hours a day. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a full-time job. And I came back and led the league in rushing, made All-Pro again, and it worked out well. Then a year after that, I had another knee injury on the other leg.
And you know what? You had to change your style of running after you did get hurt. It was between the tackles, wasn't it?
It was. I didn't have as much speed as I had early in my career. But I played for another year. Then after that, I retired.
We're going to be back with more of Gale Sayres' Calm Disco's Overtime with Mike North from Boston Pasta on the northwest side of Chicago on Channel 2. Back with more of Gale Sayres after this. Calm Disco's Overtime with Mike North from Boston Pasta on the northwest side of Chicago on Channel 2 CBS. And we're with Gale Sayres. And I've always said this. For one game, if I needed to win one game, he'd be my running back. No doubt about it. And this picture here, we're going to let everybody see this picture in a minute, but Gale brought this, and I'm going to steal it from him after the show, of George Halas, Dick Butkus, and Gale Sayres. Together. Butkus, of course, looks like he wants to tear everybody up. Gale is staring at him, saying, this guy's out of his mind. And Halas is going, how the heck did we draft two good players like this? There was also a third player in the draft who was drafted first round. The Bears had 3 first-round picks, and Steve DeLongale was the other one who went on to play a lot of years with the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah. Very, very fine football player. Came out of Tennessee, big defensive tackle, but he chose the old AFL.
So, in other words, what you're telling me is we let that guy away and we signed you 2 bumps.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
My God. Did you and Butkus talk a lot? Did you guys ever talk a lot, or did you guys keep to yourselves? Because you were quiet, a quiet guy. Butkus was nuts, and he was sort of nuts and to himself. Did you guys become friends at all, or was it after your careers were over?
Well, I think we probably became friends after our career was over because, he was on defense, I was on offense, and I met Dick before we got drafted, and I played against him in an All-American game in Buffalo, New York, and I can see why the Bears drafted him because he really could play. Right. He was a player. And so when we got to the Bears, he led the defense, I led the offense, but I really enjoyed seeing him play and watching him play because when he was out there, he was almost like an offensive man on defense. He came to hit you, and he wasn't a dirty football player. He came to hit you in your heart, and and you felt it. And I've said so many times, I've been hit as hard by Dick Butkus in practice in anybody in the game.
So it prepared you for the game.
Yes, it did. No question about it. It made me a better football player by participating against him.
You know what? Otto Graham, I believe, made the statement that you'd never amount to much as a pro. First of all, what made him say such a stupid thing, and what transpired in the college all-star practices to make him say that?
No.
Were you screwing around? What happened?
Well, in a practice, I hurt my knee a little bit, and I really it wasn't a bad injury, but by the time the all-star game was there, I was ready to go. And I went to Otto and said, Coach, I'm ready to go. And he said, Gale, you're not going to play this ball game. I think he was screwing around, as you said.
Right.
But so I didn't play. And the word got back to George Halas and to the Bear players. But George Halas, when I came into training camp, said, Gale, I'm going to judge you on what you do from this day forward. And that's what he did.
Okay, do you believe in your heart that you were as good, if not better, than any guy who's ever run the football in the National Football League?
Well, I think I had a different running style. I did more than other running backs. I ran back punt returns, kickoff returns, ran for line scrimmage, called passes, and did all of that. The players today, back then, didn't do that. But I would put my skills against anybody who's played today. No question about it. I would, because I did have a God-given talent to play the game, and it was very, very easy to play. And so I would love...
You know what I find ironic? Barry Sanders, okay, great runner, but I believe in my heart that you were better than he was. But he played on AstroTurf, okay? Everybody says that AstroTurf is bad, yet I saw Gale Sayres get hurt on a field that wasn't AstroTurf. Right. I mean, is that all a fallacy? You can get hurt on a regular football field as well as on AstroTurf, can't you? And if you would have been on AstroTurf, you wouldn't have gotten hurt that day, would you?
Probably not. But the thing about it, AstroTurf causes different injuries. Burns, scrapes and burns and things like that. They say, well, you get turf toe. Hey, in December in Soldier Field, you get turf toe. Okay.
You get cold toe.
That's right. You get frozen toe. So, on hard fields, you get the same thing as AstroTurf. But for Barry Sanders, it added probably 50 yards per game to
Sure.
his rushing total because he always had a good track.
Not
And
playing in the mud in
Not
Detroit.
playing in the mud, that's right. And the way he ran and his moves, unbelievable. I know he got 50 yards per game to his rushing total. So I just think that, he loved the field and wouldn't want to get off of it.
Do you feel you've been slighted? I'm looking at ESPN's 100 top athletes of all time. Walter Payton's number 39. There's other football players on that list. Gale Sayres isn't on that list. Because of the career longevity, do you think you were left off?
I was number 79.
Oh, you were 79?
I was
You were on it.
79.
Well,
okay?
I got to get some glasses.
But,
Where you feel
no.
you were slighted at 79?
Not really, because my career was only 68 ball games. That's all. And the thing about it, most of these players that are playing, that played, are on that list, they played 12, 13,
Should you have been
14,
in the top 50? Let's
15.
get it out in the open.
Probably not.
Come on,
No,
Gale.
I tell you what. I played 68 ball games.
Okay.
These other players played 11, 12, 13 years. I was on the all 50-year team.
Right.
After my third year, in the Hall of Fame, after the first time out, all pro 5 times on the 75-year team.
Right.
In 2 positions, running back and kickoff returner, after 68 ball games. So if I would have played 15 years, I couldn't have got anything else. Some more yards, some more touchdowns, something like that. But other than that, everything that I have today, I would have had probably if I would have played 10, 12, 13 years.
Youngest guy ever to Pro Football's Hall of Fame. We're going to take a break. Com Disco's Overtime with Mike North from Boston Pasta on the northwest side of Chicago on Channel 2. Back with more Gale Sayres in a minute. Com Disco's Overtime with Mike North. And I'll tell you what, we're back with Gale Sayres. And Gale, first of all, we'd like to give you this beautiful jacket from the guys from Signs of Success. It's Com Disco's Overtime with Mike North, CBS 2 Chicago with Gale on the thing. Look at that. Appreciate it. And I got to ask, first of all, what are you doing right now? What do you got going? I hear that you're just making a little bit of money with this business that you got.
Well, for the last 17 years, I've owned a computer company, and we distribute computer hardware and software and all the services, integration, networking services. We have 10 locations around the country, and we sell to the Fortune 1000 corporations.
So what are you making, about $50,000 a year? What do you take home?
No, we'll probably do around 300 million.
$300 million.
Yeah.
Oh! Are you prouder of your success off the field than you are on, or is it equal or what?
No question about it. I am prouder off the field because football was very, very easy. I had to learn this business. And, people say, well, Gale, because your name is Gale Sayres, you get the order. No, you don't. If you don't go in there with a quality product, good price, and good service, somebody gonna say, well, Gale's a nice guy, I got an autograph, but his prices stink.
Right.
He don't have service. He don't have nothing, it's a tough business. As everybody knows, the computer industry is very, very difficult. A lot of people out there doing the same thing we're doing. But we're in it for the long run, and we're here to stay.
Let's talk about the Chicago Bears for a minute, okay? Are you fearing that this offense, somebody's going to figure it out? I mean, I see Purdue every week do it. I saw Brigham Young do it. The pros are different. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think the Bears are going to be figured out? Or do you think they can carry this thing for a while?
Well, right now, the first ball game, they were very, very exciting. And they really were. I think people lack that type of action, more receivers getting the ball and things like that. But, the offensive coordinator said this is nothing new. And if it's not new, somebody's going to figure it out.
Okay.
Then when they do figure it out, it's going to come down to talent. Your talent versus my talent.
Are you trying to tell me we're in trouble, maybe?
We may be. Right now, I don't think we have enough talent to compete with some of the top echelon teams.
Okay.
But they are more exciting, and I think the Bear fans like that. If they can finish 8-8, they could go to the playoffs.
I like James Allen a lot, and James Allen got hurt, but last year he was awesome when he got to play. Wannstedt never played him like he didn't play a lot of guys. Curtis Enos. 2.9 yards a carry, but he had a pretty good game. Are you convinced that Curtis Enos is the man of the future for this football team, or do you think that down the line it may be somebody else?
I'm not convinced that he is. He had a good game, but I didn't see that quick speed that he had at Penn State.
Okay.
Maybe because of the knee injury. Maybe because he's not in shape. I don't know. But I don't know whether he's the man to take the Bears that next step. or the quarterbacks that next step. I think this next offseason you're going to see more trades, more free agencies, agents come in here.
Walter Payton's been sick for a while now, but it's always been perceived, and we only got about a minute 30 left, it's always been perceived that you and him have never really gotten along, and there's been some jealousy either from one or the other. There's been no respect factor, so to speak. Is there any problem? Has there ever been a problem with you and Walter?
I don't think so. No, Walter and I, we are friends. I think anytime you have a position, you hang on to the same position, there's always, I'm better than him, he's better than me.
Okay.
But no, it's no problem. Hey, Walter's all-time leading rusher.
Right.
So he has nothing to fear from Gale Sayres. I gained 7,000 yards. He gained 16,000.
But you were a different type of runner.
Different type runners, but no.
You had more speed.
Yes.
Better moves.
Yes. But hey, we are great friends, and I wish him well.
Well, I'll tell you what. We wish you well. This was the debut here on Channel 2, and I said, who do I want? I want my childhood idol on the stage right now, and it's an honor for me. And I got goosebumps when I found out you were going to do it.
Thank you.
Gale Sayres. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Grace right here from the Chicago Cubs. We're going to take off. I'll see you next week. Contest goes overtime with Mike North from Basta on Channel 2.
Transportation for guests of Overtime with Mike North provided by Charles Joseph Limousine Service, 312-623-1428. Clothing for Mr. North and Mr. Suntress designed by Arnold Brandt, courtesy of Executive Clothiers on Elmhurst Road in Prospect Heights. Signs of Success, experts in corporate and team apparel in Chicago. Call toll-free 1-877-SOS-6250. Help us find homes for animals in need. To adopt this pet, call this number. A public service message from Overtime with Mike North. Tonight's guest will receive a box of premium cigars from the White Ash Cigar Shop in Westmont, a gift certificate from world-famous Henry K. Jewelers in Water Tower, dinner for two at Basta Pasta in Chicago's Edison Park, a 20-inch Sony TV from the Little Guys Home Electronics in Glenwood, a gift certificate from Executive Clothiers on Elmhurst Road in Prospect Heights, a leather sleeve varsity jacket from Signs of Success in Chicago, and dinner for two at the Gale Street Inn in Chicago's Jefferson Park. This is John Shaky Suntress for Overtime with Mike North, a Licorice Limited production.